As self-awareness increases with age, the gap becomes noticeable. The default mode network involved in self-reflection becomes more active in adulthood. You start asking, why do I feel off? Why do I feel disconnected? Awareness makes the split visible. And once visible, it becomes heavier. Because now you see the effort. What once felt natural now feels mechanical. This is not regression. It's growth colliding with old survival patterns. There is another quiet consequence. When you constantly override your internal reactions to maintain harmony, you weaken self-trust. Self-trust is built when internal signals guide behavior. If you feel discomfort and honor it, trust increases. If you feel discomfort and override it repeatedly, trust decreases. Over time you stop knowing. Do I actually like this? Do I agree? Am I tired? Or am I just supposed to be? This uncertainty can look like indecision, but it's often suppressed internal guidance. The solution is not radical honesty. It's gradual alignment. Your nervous system must learn that authenticity does not equal abandonment. This requires corrective experiences. Small ones. Low risk. Repeated. Neuroplasticity depends on repetition under safety. So instead of, I will be fully myself everywhere, try, in this moment I will be 5% more real. Maybe you don't laugh automatically. Maybe you admit mild disagreement. Maybe you say, I'm not sure. These microalignments send new data to your brain. Expression did not lead to catastrophe. Attachment remained intact. The amygdala updates its prediction. Slowly. Think of authenticity not as a light switch, but as a dimmer. You don't go from 0 to 100. You increase gradually. Each increase expands tolerance. Each safe experience strengthens integration. Integration means your inner state and outer expression begin to overlap more consistently. The split narrows. Energy expenditure decreases. Because performance decreases. Right now ask yourself, when was the last time someone saw you irritated? Or confused? Or uncertain? Not polished. Not optimized. Just human. If it's hard to remember, that doesn't mean you are fake. It means you learned that smoothness preserved safety. But safety without self-expression becomes isolation. What happens? That's the quiet fear. Not dramatic. Not loud. Just a subtle tension in your chest. Your nervous system asks, if I don't adjust, will they stay? This is the core conflict. You don't perform because you enjoy it. You perform because somewhere in your body, connection feels conditional. So the real work isn't becoming more authentic. It's teaching your nervous system that authenticity is survivable. Self-trust develops early. It forms when your internal signals are acknowledged and respected. When you cry and someone responds. When you say no and it's honored. When you express excitement and it's welcomed. But if your environment consistently rewarded adaptation over expression, you learn to override internal cues. Every override weakens the feedback loop between sensation and action. Over time, your brain deprioritizes internal signals. It prioritizes external ones instead. This is not weakness. It's efficiency. The brain strengthens what gets used. And you used external calibration more than internal alignment. But neural pathways can reorganize. That's neuroplasticity. What was practiced can be reshaped. Before authenticity, there must be regulation. If your nervous system is in threat mode, expression will feel dangerous. The autonomic nervous system has two primary survival branches. Sympathetic activation, fight or flight. Dorsal vagal shutdown, freeze or withdrawal. When you consider expressing something real, notice what happens. Does your heart race? Do your thoughts accelerate? Do you feel numb? That reaction isn't weakness. It's your body predicting risk. So step 1 is not speaking differently. It's calming the system. Slow breathing. Longer exhales than inhales. Gentle grounding. When the body feels safe, the brain updates predictions. Without regulation, authenticity feels like jumping off a cliff. With regulation, it feels like stepping onto stable ground. Boundaries are not walls. They are signals. A boundary simply says, "This is where I end." When you constantly perform, your boundaries blur. You laugh at jokes that irritate you. You agree to plans that exhaust you. You soften opinions to avoid tension. Each time you override yourself, you reinforce fragmentation. So begin small. Decline one low-priority invitation. Express mild disagreement. Say, "I'm actually tired tonight." These are micro-boundaries. Psychologically, boundaries reduce cognitive load. They decrease the need for constant monitoring, because you are no longer trying to satisfy every perception. And when cognitive load decreases, fatigue decreases. You cannot express yourself if you cannot feel yourself. Years of adaptation often dull introspection, your ability to sense internal states. Introspection is processed partly in the insular cortex. It helps you recognize hunger, tension, discomfort, desire. When you override feelings repeatedly, attention shifts outward. To rebuild introspection, pause during conversations. Ask silently, "What am I feeling right now?" Not what you should feel, what you actually feel, even if the answer is unclear. Clarity grows with attention. The brain strengthens what it notices. Authenticity doesn't begin in high-stakes relationships. It begins in low-risk environments. Choose someone relatively safe. Offer one unfiltered opinion. Share one uncertain thought. Observe what happens. Often nothing catastrophic occurs. Your brain records this. Prediction error is powerful. When the outcome is safer than expected, neural models update. This is how fear decreases. Not through affirmation, through experience. As you reduce performance, something unexpected may surface. Grief. Grief for the energy you spent. Grief for the years you weren't fully seen. Grief for the younger version of you who adapted too early. This grief is not regression. It's integration. When suppressed parts reemerge, emotion follows. Let it. Emotion metabolized becomes clarity. Emotion suppressed becomes tension. Imagine yourself as the ocean. The surface changes constantly. Waves adjust to wind and weather. That's normal social flexibility. But beneath the surface, there must be an anchor. The anchor is your internal reference. Your preferences. Your limits. Your tone. Performance happens when you live only at the surface. Integration happens when surface and anchor stay connected. You can adapt without disconnecting. You can be flexible without dissolving. The difference is whether the anchor remains intact. Some people may respond differently when you reduce performance. They may prefer the polished version. That's okay. Relationships built on performance feel unstable anyway. Authentic expression filters connection. It doesn't destroy it. It refines it. Secure connections deepen. Surface connections fade. This is not loss. It's alignment. When your internal state and external expression align more consistently, your brain stops running constant simulations. Cognitive effort decreases. Emotional monitoring decreases. Energy returns. Not all at once. Gradually. You may notice less resentment, less social dread, more calm after interaction. Not because people changed, but because you stopped rehearsing. You don't hate people. You hate the invisible contract that says, "Be acceptable to stay." That contract was written long ago by a younger nervous system. But you are not that small anymore. Your brain is capable of updating. Your identity is capable of integrating. And connection does not require disappearance. You are allowed to be socially intelligent and honest, adaptive, and grounded. You are allowed to rest from performance, to experiment with alignment, to rediscover the parts of you that were never wrong. Only cautious. You don't need to become louder or more confrontational. Just slightly less edited, slightly less optimized. Over time, the gap narrows. And when the gap narrows, the exhaustion fades. Not because you withdrew from people, but because you finally stayed with yourself.